appeared in the Zoom?
No, I see all of John Carroll. I think everybody for John Carroll's here, right?
All of John Carroll. Well, it's great. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ari Jaffe. I'm the chair of Board of Zoning Appeal for the City of University Heights. And we have before us today a special Board of Zoning Appeal meeting to take up one matter concerning John Carroll University. This is an ordinary meeting held in the ordinary course, albeit in the format of Zoom. And so before we begin, if the clerk could please call the roll of the members of the Board of Zoning Appeal.
Mrs. Jablonski?
Here.
Mr. Goodman?
Here.
Mr. Jaffe?
Here.
Mr. Califf?
Here.
And we do have one vacancy on the board, but that otherwise is a full complement of our committee. I understand that we're going to have a presentation from John Carroll University, but before we do that, are there any people participating in this meeting today who are neighbors or who anticipate speaking regarding this matter?
What do you mean by neighbors?
Anyone who's received a notice of this meeting or who has something that they're planning on offering in addition to John Carroll?
Well, I received a notice. I'm, close to John Carroll, so that's all I'm, just called because it was a meeting to see what it was.
Well, it's good to see you. I'm glad everyone's here to participate. Okay, with that in mind, we have before us an application for a special use permit for the use of the Down Shula Stadium and the intramural fields during daytime and evening hours during January and February of the year 2021. This permit is being sought subject to pursuant to a special permit that was previously granted and conditions that were established in 2002 and 2011. And so what's being requested here today is simply an extension of time to cover January and February for 2021. And if that's correct, I'll turn the floor over to the representative of John Carroll, who should be sworn or affirmed.
That's going to be Michelle Morgan, our Senior Director of Athletics.
Nice to meet you.
I'll ask her to take an oath. Do you swear the testimony you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. With that said, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see that the sun is out in Cleveland today. Thanks for taking the time to give us this opportunity to meet with you. As you know, COVID has made everybody's life challenging, and in the world of collegiate athletics, it's become ever so challenging, knowing where we are and trying to return to as much of a normalcy in operation as we can be. The materials that you would have received up until this point have highlighted the fact that John Carroll chose to go virtual in the fall semester. And in addition to that, we took the additional step to not provide any athletic related activity or competition. So we are a member of the Ohio Athletic Conference. There was no competition that was happening through the fall semester, but institutionally, we chose to take that a step further and not allow for any sort of practice or related team activity. With that said, our conference, as well as the NCAA from a national Division III perspective, we are now permitted to return to play. John Carroll institutionally has returned to a campus presence. And with that said, we are playing the giant game of Tetris with multiple programs trying to overlap and happen at the same time. So the sports, our fall sports like football and soccer, that normally would happen from the months of August through December roughly, are now being overlaid with our winter and spring sports, with their respective seasons happening January through roughly March and roughly February through May for our spring sports as they start practices and competitions. With that said, we're asking for special permission to be granted to use the facility for a need base so that we can allow these teams to practice and then to compete later in the year Our games and competitions wouldn't be starting until March. So this is truly a practice only from a health and safety standard, so our student athletes can return to regularly scheduled athletic related activity, knowing that we need some additional time and space to physically distance as we return to play. Noted in the materials, it's nothing outside of, we know what the sound requirements are, the additional lighting requirements. We're not asking for additional permissions outside of what is normal in a normal world from the dates in which we're permitted to do so. It truly is to start the clock earlier with it being more of an immediate need through the winter months. So with that, I'm going to pause. I'll ask my colleagues that are on the call if there's other things that they would like to add, or I can elaborate on further.
Morgan, thank you. If anyone else would like to speak, please be sworn or affirmed.
I think we're okay on John Carroll's end.
Okay. I thank you very much. Is there anyone from the city who would like to address this matter? Mayor or anyone else?
I suppose I could.
Mayor, do you swear the testimony you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Yes, I didn't necessarily specifically plan to address the BZA, but this afternoon. But I think everybody on the BZA probably saw the letter I prepared with respect to this. You know, the years ago, you know, before most of us would have been working on these things, when John Carroll sought to develop the stadium and the intramural fields and so on, you know, there were negotiations between our predecessors with respect to how those areas would be used. None of those things contemplated what we've seen over the course of the last year with the pandemic. And you know, John Carroll here is seeking a one-time special use permit with respect to the extraordinary circumstances under which we are all facing and having to work. And, you know, they're trying to have, you know, the best possible experience for their student athletes here. And the accommodations that we can make as a city and as a community in order to help them do that. You know, there are lots of things that we've all done that aren't necessarily things that we would prefer to do, but we are doing them because there are extraordinary circumstances and extraordinary times that we are living in. These fields were dark over the fall when normally they would be lit and active. And, you know, normally we wouldn't be looking at using or seeing them use these fields in this way at this time of year. But again, as set forth by Ms. Morgan, this is you know, a very unique situation, and the unique accommodations are called for. They're sought and then they're called for, and I support our finding a way to work with John Carroll on this, and I believe the application is appropriate, and I would encourage the BZA to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments from the building department or from the police or any other representatives of the city of University Heights?
We in the building department would have no issue with this, and we haven't received any calls from residents. I have not personally.
Okay. I do want to indicate for the record here that we do have in the file a letter from the mayor to Kate Malone at John Carroll University. We have the application for the Board of Zoning Appeals, a letter from John Carroll University dated January 15th, 2021. The record of the previous actions of the Board of Zoning Appeal in 2002 and 2011, and then an email that we received from a neighbor, Deb Striniero, in support of this application. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this matter today? Okay, hearing no other comments, I will make a motion to approve the special permit as applied for by John Carroll University for the use of the Don Shula Stadium and the intramural fields during daytime and evening hours in January and February of 2021, based upon the information that's been provided to us in the record and the testimony today.
I'll second the motion.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Jablonski,
Aye.
Mr. Goodman,
Aye.
Mr. Jaffe,
Aye.
Mr. Califf.
Aye.
And with that, the motion passes. There being no other matters on our agenda for today, I want to thank everyone for participating. I wish you all safety.
Excuse me,
Yes,
excuse me. The
Yes.
Zoom link was incorrect, so I'm coming to the call late. Was there any discussion about what John Carroll University is actually doing?
sure. Could you identify yourself?
Sure, I'm a neighbor. I got this letter in the mail. My name is Wendy Bruder. I live a few houses down from John Carroll University on Belvoir Boulevard.
Okay. I apologize if you had an inaccurate link, but we've actually just completed the only matter that was on the agenda, which was John Carroll's request to use their fields. Normally, they would be allowed to use them beginning March 1st pursuant to the special permit that previously granted to them. But the extension was granted to them this year to allow them to use the fields now in January and in February for training of their student athletes.
Oh, it's the normal athletic training stuff that goes on at John Carroll.
Yes, it is. It's an extension of the special permits that have been there for many years, simply adding on several weeks.
Just this one
Okay.
time.
Thank you for clarifying that. I was unsure if it was related to the new tennis courts that are being built or if it was something usual. So I have no problem with that if it's just the athletes that are going to be using the fields.
Thank you. And I'm glad to hear your participation. So with that, we will conclude the meeting and wish everybody good health and safety.
Let's
Have a good
take
day,
a-
everyone.
a
Thank
mo-
you.
we need a
We need a
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry. Is there
So
a motion?
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Jablonski,
Aye.
Mr. Goodman,
Aye.
Mr. Jaffe,
Aye.
Mr. Califf.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.